now the recording has started. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so that means it works already. Okay, so what is that? To go back very quickly. Okay, so these are the two learning objectives. Okay, to just our session today. Okay, this is our third lesson. We will focus on the annotation skills. Okay, to understand a poem for the very first time. Okay, as closely as possible to its original meaning. Okay, so the starter, you will read a poem by Charlotte Miu in the next slide and try to understand what the poem is about. But I want you to be very aware of the things that you look at, okay, while trying to understand the poem. Okay, now, so this is the poem. Because you have already spent the 5 minutes reading the poem, so I suppose that we can go straight away to the discussion. Okay, now, so I will go to the next slide. Okay, now, what is your first impression of the poem? How does it?
They were just talking about rooms and describing it as.
Okay, yes, so that is the poem is about that. Okay, now how did you arrive at that understanding, Sonia?
Because they were describing like it's a damp room, seaweed smell, and it's like it's just like it's not generally about rooms. It's probably just about a room or like rooms all over the world, because they said room in Paris, room in Geneva. So we know that the topic is about rooms and what it's like to be in one.
Yeah. Okay. So, any others? What
It
do you
described the rooms in like different situations, different seasons, different weathers, and different like places even. And the title of this thing is Rooms. So that's one way of knowing it's about rooms.
Okay, sure. So, but generally, do you think the poem has got a positive tone or negative tone or anything?
Because it talks about love and it also talks about smelly rooms and damp rooms.
Okay, things that die in the room, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So I moved on to the second questions. Okay, second question, you just answered that also, like what does the poem talk about? So how does the poet feel about the subject of the poem? That means about the room or rooms in general. Okay, so what do you think the poet, okay, must have felt when she was writing this about rooms?
Her experiences, maybe?
Okay, she talks about her experience. So if you recall your past experience of having lived in different rooms or slept in different rooms, okay, what do you think you would have felt? Because you see the first line, I remember rooms that have had their part in the steady slowing down of the heart. So those two lines belong to one, which is an example of enjambment, which is a run-on line, which I covered last week. So because the poem starts with I remember, so it tells us the perspective or the point of view being the first person perspective. And because of the verb remember, so it creates a nostalgic tone. So we know this that the poet speaks or writes from her experience or her memory. Okay, is that all right? So generally, the feel, okay, could be very one of like nostalgia, okay, like very memorable kind of things, very what is that? It can be sentimental, all right? Yeah, about the rooms that she has slept in or she has lived in, or probably she's rented those rooms before. Okay, now, so we go to the fourth questions. How did you approach the poem or trying to understand it? Like just now, Sonia and Tripta, you both shared about like what the poem is about. You know, like you talk about like there are positive and negative memories being associated, because the poet seems to remember the seaweed smell and the damp room, the dampness conditions. Okay, and also like things that had died in the room, etc. And also like she mentioned about the rooms where we two lie dead. So these two could imply that her partner, okay, that she was in a relationship with. Okay, now basically all those things. Now, so how did you arrive at that understanding of the things that you have just shared? So what did you actually look at when you first when I first play this slide, so what are the things that you pay attention to or that caught your eyes as you were looking at this poem? I'm sure you start reading from the title, but apart from the title, what else did you look at for that, or what are the words or anything that caught your attention that gave you some ideas about what the poem is?
The ending of the poem kind of rhymes.
Okay, out there in the sun, in the rain. Okay, okay, it
Like
rhymes.
heart,
Okay.
heart, tide, died, again rain, something like that.
Yeah, okay. So you notice the rhyming pattern. Okay. What did you notice about the poem that gives you a better understanding of the meaning?
Uh, like the
Anything?
words used, I guess, like the words they use to describe like the rooms,
Okay. Could you give me an example?
like little damn room, seaweed smell. It describes how the room is like kind of
Okay.
like
So yeah, that is how she remembered, like some of those rooms. Okay, because this little damp room with the seaweed smell, it doesn't specifically refer to any location in specific, because the room in Paris, the room at Geneva, the little damp room with the seaweed smell. So we do not know whether this particular damp room with the seaweed smell refers to the one in Paris or Geneva or somewhere else. Okay, now. See what
So,
yeah.
so I think like what caught me was also the mood which it gave me, because it's quite gentle. So we can think that it's kind of like bringing back the memories,
Very
like
good.
quite.
Okay, I'm sure this poem, right, is easily associated or related to anyone because you all have your rooms, correct? You all have your bedrooms. Obviously, this room, like this poem refers to bedroom in specific. I don't think it refers to living room or dining room or any kind of like storeroom or anything. I think it refers more specifically to bedrooms. Anyone who, like who objects to the idea? Do you agree that it refers to the bedroom?
Yep.
Yeah, right. So it definitely does refer to the bedroom. Okay, now I go to the next slide. Okay, so we already discuss some of these questions of the starter activity, which is great. Okay, now remember, yeah, all the starter activities, right, are meant to like somehow, like try to link for the teachers to got your what is that, like prior knowledge or your exposure to certain topic which is related to our lesson. It's not a test of your intelligence, so don't worry about, like you might uh, appear silly to other people. No one judges you here. Okay, yeah, right, so don't worry. Now next slide. Okay, so when we look at a poem, okay, I call it like decoding a poem, because a poem is always written in a very figurative, okay, or descriptive language, and they rarely use very literal like features to actually carry out or convey or express the meaning. So usually it's very, very compact because it has to be very short, okay, within a few verses, and even within a verse, the lines are quite short sometimes, okay, and then the words are very figurative, like a lot of poetic devices, metaphors, simile, personifications, hyperbole, etc., etc. So that's why it's like all, like like your programming system, there are a lot of codes, okay, so you have to decode them. So there are certain things that you can look at that helps you better, okay, when decoding a poem. Like, look, for example, you can look at the title, you can look at the first line and the last line. Say, for example, for this poem, I can look at the title, Rooms. Oh, so it tells me this is part, especially or mainly about rooms, but it is in plural, so it suggests that she's not focusing on one particular room, but many rooms. Okay, and what kind of rooms are there? Okay, so then you read on, you will know. So if you look at the first line, I remember. So I told you already, it's very nostalgic because it seems that the poet is recalling or reminiscing her past, associating the memories with her past where she had lived in certain rooms. And the pronoun I tells us this is a very personal poem. Okay, and you look at the last line, out there in the sun, in the rain, so it's related to season. So obviously, and it's very soothing and it's very calming. So it seems to be quite a positive feeling or mood. Okay, now, so this is how we look at the poem. Then if you look at the word choice, okay, or diction, okay, like for example, the word choice, steady, slowing down, okay, and then the heart. Okay, heart, so definitely it creates a lot of emotions. It touches our deepest feelings. Okay, and then you look at some other word choice like damp room, okay, seaweed smell, okay, like maddening sound, tight, okay, died and dead. So there are some negative words, some positive ones, okay, and that's to as well as to sleep again, quieter, dustier bed. So these are some of the word choice that gives you some meaning about the poem. So it seems to tell us that the poet remembers her experiences in different rooms where she has lived in or slept in, and some of which are positive and some of which are negative. But nevertheless, she remembers them all. Okay, now. So then you look at sentence structures, whether it's long or short sentence, okay, it's a commenting or questions or exclamatory or request sentence. Like for example, the first one, I remember rooms that have had their part with the steady slowing down of the heart. So this is enjambment. So it's a run-on line, a long sentence which is broken into two lines so that they look shorter and not so, confusing or boring. Okay, now how does the poet feel? Okay, the poetic devices. There are some poetic devices as well. Okay, I'm on this one, yeah. If you are lost or something, poetic devices. If you go back, like steady slowing, this is an alliteration or sibilance. Seaweed smell, this is also again alliteration. And damp room and smell, damp, it gives us a sense of taste and touch. Okay, it's like sense impression. If when you do your descriptive writing, we know how the dampness feels like in the room, so it gives you the sense of smell and touch. And seaweed, we know how it smells like, so there's sense of smell and touch being created. And then maddening sound of the tide, so sense of sound. Okay, and all the ill for good for ill and things die. So then again, it's like a very yucky kind of disgusting or like sorrowful, the kind of feelings. All right, so this is what is that? We too like that. This is what is that, like a metaphor? Of course, not like they are dead. All right, so there are a lot of poetic devices here. Okay, now. So then point of view, because of the personal pronoun I, so it's first persons, intended audience or reader. So who do you think this poem is for? I think there is no particular reader here. It's for general. Okay, unlike certain poems, it only addresses a certain group of audience. Okay, now setting, time, place, social background. So it doesn't really tell us when, like the poem, whether it happened in a particular time era or whether it happens in a particular geographical location. And then how the social background of the narrator or of the characters, like the persona. We don't know that because it's not very obvious. The themes, okay, so it's about relationship. Yes.
In the poem, since it's like an experience, if the writer, it should be like around 1869 to 1929, like the time of when she was alive, right?
Yeah.
So couldn't we say that it's between the 1900s?
Yeah. In this case, because it's personal experience, Yeah, you can say that, so you can attribute it to the era that of the poets, because like between this time era, so it could be in the early 1920s or in the 1910 or something. Okay, so but which in this case, because it's personal, so you can do it this way. But if let's say the poet is writing in the third person's point of view, okay, talking about writing about someone else's experience and so on, then it's quite hard to actually like guess or to identify the time era. Okay, so but the social background is not clear. We don't know actually, like the age or the ethnicity, or maybe like the cultural background, or maybe his history or something like that. It's not very obvious. Okay, yeah, right. Thanks, Tripta. That is a good sign of like trying to understand the poem. Also, you can refer to the poets, their lifespan or their life cycle time. Okay, now setting. Okay, so we go to the next one. Themes. Okay, themes is the major subject matters. Okay, in this case, the themes are definitely related to, okay, like relationship. Okay, it has certain things like, what is that, like nature, okay, nature, relationship, and also like personal experience. Okay, now why I say it is related to a relationship, because she talks about like rooms that have had their part is the steady slowing down of the heart. Okay, so definitely she associates the rooms, the bedrooms that she has slept in, okay, to the different chamber in her heart. So that means she, in her mind, she still remembers some of the rooms that she slept in, which refers to this room symbolizes the relationship she has been with. She has been in a few relationships with different partners. Okay, now we don't talk about whether the poet or the narrator was promiscuous or whatever. With that one is out of questions. We just focus on the poem. We definitely know that she has a soft spot for the past relationship she has been with, and in the different rooms that she has lived in with, or maybe shared with her partner. So she talks about them, like so we know that she lived in Paris, in Geneva before with her partners, and also like she remembers some of the rooms being in good conditions, in bad conditions, and things, rooms that they have shared a lot of good memories as well as that bad memories, and things that died. Okay, the relationship ended, something like that. Okay, I just want to give you a brief idea. I'm not going to, into in-depth, okay, because it's just a starter activity. And the tone and mood, very nostalgic, sentimental, very soothing. Okay, now, yeah, rhyme scheme, there is a fixed rhyme scheme, as you can see as well, like heart and heart, Geneva, smell, tight, died. So there is a certain rhyme scheme, okay? Now, next, all right, structure and form is only one stanza. Okay, then you just count how many lines there are, and there is some lines are indented. You can see indentation means there is a departure, a text space in front. So that is called indentation. Okay, so I skip this one now because we have already covered. So now, actually, what you just did, right? Okay, by looking at the title, pick up some of the keywords, look at the rhyme scheme and so on. Those things that you pay attention to are actually parts, okay, or different things that contribute to this technique that you are using. Okay, but being unaware of the concept or of the vocabulary, you might not know what it is called. To decode a literary text, either it's a poem, it's a prose, or it's a dramatic play. Okay, now there is only one way, which is this word. Okay, it happens to be a noun. Okay, so I've left out some blank spaces for the missing letters. Anyone would like to guess? Like heck, huh?
Annotation.
Annotation, yes, that's right. Thank you, Trita. So it's annotation. A-N-N-O, so there is an N here. There is an N here. T-A-T-I-O-N. It's called annotation. So it's a short explanation, a note added to a text or image. So you can draw something, you can write and put in additional text, okay, or the act of adding short explanation or notes. Okay, now, so how does this, what this is, okay, and how it looks, okay, let's explore it in the next video, okay? So we are going to watch a short video, yeah? So pay attention to the things that the person says. It's a YouTube video.
Yes.
Okay, good. Right. All right. So basically, I have just, introduced very quickly. So activity 1, what and how. So based on just now the video, okay, I can just summarize it. There are a few basic steps to annotate a poem. So step 1, you just skim the poem starting from the title for general idea. Okay, so these are the 3 basic steps already. Some videos will tell you more steps like 7 or 5 or whatever. It doesn't matter. You still have to go through this. Okay, now, so skim the poem from the title until the last line. Okay, get some rough idea what it's about. Is it relationship related or season or about politics or about self-identity or death or anything? Now, ask several key questions about like, okay, who wrote the poem? Who is this for? Okay, now who is the narrator here? And is there any persona here? Okay, what is it about? Okay, what actually the poet tries to convey? Okay, and when do you think, okay, like for example, when is this poem roughly written? Or when is the time frame of this incident featured in the poem? Okay, where could this be about? Okay, like maybe the narrator is from is a person, is a persona, okay, from a different cultural background, from a different country. So where is the persona from? Why does the poet, okay, make the persona or the character or the narrator feel in such a way? So all that kind of things. Okay, now what kind of impact it would have on the reader, and why would the reader feel that way? All right. How? So how does the poet conveys the meaning? Okay, what are the language features that he uses and so on? All right, so you just want to ask these key questions to identify the summary and the importance of the poem. Okay, now then you highlight or remark any significant poetic devices and language features. Okay, like language features are like sentences, okay, word choice and punctuations, okay, that kind of things. Okay, poetic devices refers to examples like the hyperbole, personification, simile, metaphor, okay, like oxymorons, onomatopoeia, assonance, alliterations, etc. Okay, now I just want to show you part of this video again, and it's another one how it is done before we go to the next activity, which is on reading comprehension on a poem. Any caption, I think. Yeah, but this one doesn't really have any voiceover. Okay, so basically that's it. Now, so that the first activity just now, you watched two videos. One talks explain what annotation is, and the second video shows you how to do annotation on a poem. Okay, and the cage bird. I know why the cage bird sing by Maya Angelou. Okay, now so we now go to the second activity of the lesson. So it's on poetry comprehension. So this is just a very, very short poem, okay, with the title of Death, okay, by Percy Shelley. Okay, now I want you to have a quick read, okay. Now then we can go to the questions here. Okay, now you have a quick read now, 2 minutes. So the time is 1:45, and so 1:47, I will stop the reading. Okay, use some of the things that I listed down here just now. Okay, these are the items that you should look at as you try to understand this poem, Death. You look at the title, you look at the first line, the last line, you look out for any poetic devices or punctuation. Is there any rhymes pattern? Okay, now any kind of like enjambment or caesura, etc. What is the point of view here? Who is the narrator here, or who is the persona here? Okay, so 2 minutes are up. It's quite fast, yeah. All right, now anyone would like to share their thoughts about this poem?
I mean, it's about that, so it's quite negative.
Okay, right.
Some point.
It's Xingtian, right?
No, I'm
No.
Say.
No, Say. Okay, sorry. Because I cannot recognize your voice yet, so I thought it's Xingtian. Okay, so it's quite negative. It's about death. You think that it's negative, right? It's about death. Okay.
I mean, from when we see the topic, it seems negative, but when what he explains as that as a wonderful thing.
Yes.
I think.
So yeah, you are right. Okay. Any others? Thanks, Say. Okay. Anyone else would like to add on?
Percy makes this so death, which is such a negative and dark thing, so beautiful, and it adds words like blushes, but it also gives like a dark feeling to it.
Okay,
And it
now,
describes us as a person.
so death is being personified, am I right?
Yep.
Yeah, because, okay, now what tells you that death is being personified here?
The blue lips and the pale as yonder waning moon is like describing a face
Okay,
with
the
the
very
lips of
good.
lurid blue tells you
Yes.
that like when a dead person, when you see a dead person, their lips are always blue. It's not pink anymore.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Putri. So that means
That's me, Sonia.
oh, sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, now thank you. So that means okay, death. Okay, one indication that death is being personified. Okay, according to Sonia, is it has a face. Okay, because the poet describes the face being very pale and the lips of lurid blue color. Okay, so that is one way that she actually got it. Okay, very good. And secondly, you notice something about the word death or not? You look at the word death. What have you noticed about death?
It has a capital letter. That means it's
That
a name.
is, yes,
It's
very
like
good.
a person's name.
That's right. It has a capitalized or uppercase of letter D, which is an indication that it's a proper noun. It's not just a common noun like death, as in like general random death, as a concept of like the end of life of something. The death here is being capitalized, so it tells us this is a proper noun. A proper noun refers to person, things, object, and names. So definitely this is about, that's why death is personified. Okay, so a capital D. Now, apart from death, which has a capitalized D, what is another subject that has a capitalized letter?
Sleep.
Sleep.
Which one?
Sleep.
Sleep.
Sleep. That's right, sleep. You notice that sleep is also capitalized, especially the letter S, which means sleep is also another personification. So death and sleep are personified uh, figures here. Okay, now you look at how wonderful is death. Death and his brother sleep. So apart from death, that means sleep is also mentioned. Am I right? And what is their relationship?
They're brothers.
They are brothers, very obviously. Okay. And do you notice the exclamation mark? So what kind of mood is created here through the exclamation mark? So I'm guiding you to annotate actually. So firstly, you see how wonderful is that. So the title is very negative, but you see, okay, as Say mentioned the first word wonderful. So it seems to contradict our first impression about death, which is going to be sorrowful, but it is not because of the one adjective wonderful. So it suggests that death is so great, it's a good feeling, it's a good person, it's somebody wonderful because of the personification. And apart from death, death has a brother, sleep, an exclamation mark. So what do you think? If you are to annotate, you have to annotate, circle or highlight the exclamation mark. So what do you think the mood is created here by the exclamation mark?
Exaggeration.
Because you see, this is enjambment. How wonderful is death? Death and his brother sleep. This is enjambment. The two sentences, two lines actually belong to one sentence. So actually the poet is praising what? Does she praise only death, or she praises death as well as sleep, his brother? What?
I think the poet is praising both death and sleep.
Yes, that's right. The poet praises both death and sleep. Now, you see, how wonderful is death? So personification, and it's a very positive feeling. The tone is a praising tone or complimenting tone because how wonderful.
Is
So
this a
this line,
is it an ode?
uh, yes, this can be an ode. Okay, but we are not looking at the form yet, yeah? We are just annotating the features so that we can understand the poem. So I'm just using these questions to prompt you towards understanding the poem. Okay, so that you can answer the questions on the next slides. Okay, so how wonderful is death? So title itself gives us a negative connotation. Okay, however, it is immediately contrasted. Okay, immediately the poet contrasts the negative connotations created by the title with the first line, how wonderful is death, which carries a complimenting or praising tone due to the adjective wonderful. And as death is capitalized in the first letter, so this shows an example of personification. So we know that death is personified as someone who is very wonderful. And not only him, he and his brother. So here death is repeated. Death is repeated, so which means the poet is emphasizing on not just death, which is who is wonderful, he and his brother slept. And there's an exclamation mark because this is to emphasize on the feeling of like awe, admiration, because the two lines actually belong to one sentence. So if you read it like this, like how wonderful is death, death and his brother sleep. So that means she praises both of them. That's why the exclamation mark emphasizes on the poet's feeling of awe or admiration. Okay, now then next one, there's a caesura, comma. All these comma will create caesura. Caesura, Caesura. I introduced it last week. It means pauses. Okay. So one, pale as yonder waning moon. Pale, again, is very negative and it is very related to death because anything that is dead looks pale. Yonder means very far, the distance, and this word yonder is actually a classical adjective for the meaning of far. So this tells us that it tells us the time frame of the poem. It must be very, very old classical English time because the poet uses yonder, and yonder is a word that we usually see in Shakespeare's play. So this tells us the year time frame already, quite a very old poem. Waning means decreasing. Like the moon on the 1st and the 15th of the lunar calendar, usually the moon is always very round and full. Okay, the first is a new moon. Okay, but the 15th is a full moon. So after the 15th, it will wane. Wane meaning decreasing in size. Okay, so that is why it means, okay, the one of them, death and the brother, one of them looks very pale at the very distant decreasing size of the moon. Okay, now that means as the moon disappears, okay, the one of them, death, okay, is in particular, looks very pale, okay, at a very far distance, with lips of lurid blue. Okay, lips, again, it's like personification because it has a face, it has lips. Okay, the lurid blue is actually unpleasantly bright blue. Okay, so it shows that, you know, even though at the far distance it looks pale, but its lips is unpleasantly blue. So again, it tells us it's very dead. Something that is dead, the lips are turning bluish or grayish, like kind of color. Right. The other, yes.
So death has the lips of lurid blue, or sleep has the lips of lurid blue?
That's why I just want to ask you. You see the next one. Okay, good questions. You see the next one. The other, rosy as the morn. So this one, what literally device is this? Rosy as the morn.
Simile.
That's right. It's a simile. The other looks rosy, is pinkish in color, or light pink. So rosy as the morn, that means a simile, as rosy as the morning. Okay, now if one is pale, okay, and have lurid blue lips, the other have rosy, like face, what's that, like facial looks, okay? Now, which do you think refers to death and which refers to sleep?
The pale and the lurid blue seems to refer as the death.
Yes, that's right. Okay, thanks, yeah, say right? Okay, and then sleep refers to, is described as rosy as the morning. So that's why it's interesting. They are both brothers, okay? So it's personification. Death and sleep are personified as a pair of brothers, but one of them looks very pale, okay, with blue lips, okay, and very pale looks, and the other one is have very rosy looks on the face, okay, every morning. Okay, now when thrown on ocean's wave, thrown means like at the peak of the ocean's wave. So this is again a metaphor that means okay, the poet describes sleeps. In the morning, he looks very rosy, and when thrown on the ocean's wave, it blushes over the world. Now, throne, the king will sit on the throne. Okay, so it suggests that when the king rules, throne is a symbol of reign or administrations or leadership. Okay, kingdom, sovereignty. So this suggests that the brothers sleep, it will blush, okay, when what happened? When it is praised, okay, on at the top of the ocean's wave. You know, when it sits on the ocean's wave, it is carried to a very high altitude, so it will blush over the world. So it suggests that sleep, again, is personification. Sleep is very shy. Sleep is very shy when he is praised. Is that clear? Now, yet, the conjunction yet changes everything. So it tells us that the poet is aware that death and sleep, even though they are brothers, they are very different. Despite the differences, both of them are so wonderful. Again, an exclamation mark. So that means what? She is praising both of them because they are equally powerful and wonderful. However, they are so different in terms of the outcomes. You get what I mean? Because death creates sorrow, death takes the life away. Okay, but sleep, it will revive. What is that? Like it will refresh your tiredness, refresh your exhaustions. Okay, like regenerate, like energy. So it replenishes your
Reincarnate.
that's right. Yeah, something like that. So that's why sleep is much praised compared to the brother death. Okay, so basically this poem is about that. If you look at the way how I was directing you to annotate it verbally, because I didn't draw it, okay, you can actually come to the understanding of the poem. Okay, this is a poem of comparison. The poet compares death and sleep, okay, by personifying both of them as a pair of brothers. Despite being so wonderful, both of them, they can create a different outcome. Whereas the first one, death, it's very pale and whatever, turn everything lifeless and looks horrible, looks scary and creates sorrow and melancholy. Whereas the other brother, okay, now it's very refreshing, replenishing, like a reinvigorating, that kind of thing, revitalizing. Yeah, so it creates a different kind of feelings and experience. That is how both of them are great. And both of them are also a metaphor because death and sleep they share something in common. Because why? When you are dead, you are just the end of your life, like like there is peacefulness and so on. When you sleep, also you just like you just lose your consciousness for a second, even though you're not fully dead. Okay, but death and sleep are quite similar because you just lie down there, you don't do anything, there's a sense of peacefulness or whatever. So then again, here there is a metaphor. There's a metaphor, there's personification, And then how do we tell the personification? We look at all these capitalized letter, okay, and we look at the descriptions that they have faces, they have looks, and so on, okay, yeah, things like that. And the exclamation mark shows the tone of the poet, okay. Any questions that you would like to ask regarding this? Okay, let's do this together, yeah. It's in your, I will upload these worksheets, okay? Now, but I have copied and pasted it onto the slide so that we can do it together now, so that you can do it on your own as well. Okay, what is death personified what is death personified as, and what is his relationship with sleep? Anyone?
He's personified as a person, and sleep. His relationship with sleep is his brother. It's a sibling and brother.
Okay, yeah, right, okay. Now, death is personified as a wonderful person, and he is related to sleep, okay, because they are siblings. Right, good. Thank you, Sonia. Number 2, how does the poet describe death and sleep? Provide a quotation to support your answer.
He describes the face and with like for that he describes the lurid blue lips, and he
Uh-huh,
describes his face which is very blue. I mean, sorry, pale, and
uh-huh,
sleep is very like fresh, and he has rosy like face. So
uh-huh.
that's how he personifies and describes them.
Okay, good. So you have to separate the answers, yeah? Okay, when you really write it down. So death, you can start with like death is personified, okay, is described rather negatively, okay, like through, what is that, like descriptions such as, okay, pale as yonder waning moon, or maybe lips of lurid blue. So because the questions ask for only one quotation, so you can choose either one, okay, yeah, then you can further explain the quotation. Okay, you say that this is actually a personifications, and also like you can talk about like lurid blue. The blue color is always associated with depressions, you know, like grief and so on. Okay, yeah. Then for sleep, you can say like in contrast, sleep is personified or described through very positive personification. Okay, now as seen through, okay, the quotations that you mentioned, like Rosie as through this simile, Rosie as born, okay, or maybe like when it thrown on the ocean's wave, it blushes over the world. So it suggests that sleep is a very shy, okay, like has a very shy personality or characteristics, etc., etc. Okay, so it's up to which quotations you pick. All right. Now, question 3. What does the word wonderful suggest about the poet's attitude towards death? Why do you think so?
Emotion, as like the word wonderful refers to, as like a positive emotion.
Yes, very positive emotion. So it shows the poet's admiration, right, for death. Now, why do you think that death is a very kind of negative experience? Everybody is afraid of death. No one wants to die, of course. Okay, now, in the past, some of the emperors, they even spend their entire life looking for the, you know, like a elixir, okay, or maybe some potion that can keep them, you know, like immortal, because they just don't want to die. They enjoy the luxury of life and so on. They don't want to leave this world. So why does this poet, okay, like contrary of the others, okay, like she actually praises death as a wonderful person, and you know, like giving him a lot of credits of positive feelings. Why do you think the poet is doing this? You see, it's quite interesting because most people would write a poem about death in a very negative way. Like it's about sorrow, grief, you know, like the end or loss of a loved one. But this poet seems to praise him. So why do you think the poet does this? With what purpose? Anyone?
I think that the writer thinks that death allows you to rest in peace finally, so like death is kind of a good thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Actually, in a way, yes, because you have to answer question 3, right? By linking to the metaphor or the personification with sleep. So here, the author actually praises death. Okay, it shows that the poet's positive impressions of death. Okay, because death, just like sleep, death also, like gives the persona, or gives whoever the subject, a sense of peacefulness or the kind of things. Okay, so that is why it is very wonderful, because it can creates this type of outcome. However, it is different from sleep. I mean, like, it creates grief. I mean, like, the peacefulness would bring upon grief and sorrow, okay, and mourning loss. But for sleep, it's a different thing. Okay, thanks, yeah, Cynthia. So we go to question 4. In what way are death and sleep equally wonderful? So basically, for this question, you can talk about they are equally wonderful because they are capable of, like a lot of uh, impactful outcome. For example, death, okay, can just grab a person's life or any living things, okay? So in a fleeting moment, it is gone. Everything is gone, okay? In a fleeting moment, everything, a family can be ruined by the death of someone they love or whatever, something like that. But sleep, through the recovery periods of our physical sleep, okay, actually you will wake up feeling more energized and refreshed and revitalized. So all of these outcomes, they are equally wonderful, okay, they are equally impactful, okay, they are equally powerful, but of course one has a positive outcome and one has a negative one. So despite positivity or negative outcome, they are still very powerful in a way. That's why the poet praises them. Okay, is that right? Anything else that you would like to ask? So we quickly get this done. Okay, we can finish this then. Okay, I go to this one, annotating a poem. Okay, maybe I just show you. Okay, now we are going to look at a poem. Okay, now which is already annotated, and this poem is by Alan Bowle, entitled Autumn in the Word File. I will post all of this thing in the Google Classroom after our lesson. After that, it's your turn to annotate a poem and give a presentation of your annotation and poetry analysis. So the annotation will take 20 minutes, which is not possible anymore because the technical problem of the mic and whatever already wasted our 25 minutes. So I know, because all my lessons are enough for 2 hours duration. So that's why this part, right, will have to be your homework. Okay, so you will post your annotation images in Google Classroom after the lesson. Supposedly, it should be done during lesson now. And then you only posting it in the classroom, and I will give you another piece of homework. But because it's of the time wasted, so this one will be your homework. I will post all the instructions there on the Google Classroom, so don't have to worry. So now I go to this one. This is a poem called Autumn, okay, now by Alan Bowle, and that will comes with the annotation. So you look at the title, okay, I will post all of this there. So title, the poet thinks about season in personal way, because it's fully capitalized. That means it's calling for attention. Okay, and autumn is one of the 4 seasons, so it's definitely conveys the theme of nature. Okay, now summer, okay, then we look at the first line. Autumn arrives like an experienced robber. So here the verb arrives is in the present tense, okay, which shows that it is still relevant to the reader of any time era. So if your parents read this when they were younger, and now you're reading this, it's still applicable because of the present tenses, the present simple tense here. Okay, now arrives like an experienced robber. So these 2 lines is an adjustment. Okay, now like an experienced robber is a simile. Okay, so autumn, which is a season, supposedly very pleasant. Okay, because it's a beautiful romantic season. Okay, now that is how our common perception of autumn. But it is contrast with a very negative simile, like an experienced robber. So it tells us that it is very violent, it's very aggressive, it's quite cruel or brutal, because robber is a criminal. Okay, now, so this personification of autumn being a robber and through the simile is a very effective and powerful one. Okay, now, so you can read this kind of annotations, the notes here, okay, which I don't want to read, I just point out to you. Okay, now, then summer is presented as a victim in the sense that autumn is an experienced robber, because autumn comes after summer. So obviously, the arrival of autumns will steal everything that summer provides us with. Okay, so we emphasize the summer and not with autumn. Now, grabbing the green stuff. So we assume that it's quite a chilly time, a chilly season moment, because all the green stuff is gone. Okay, and then cunningly covering his tracks. Okay, again, autumn is given a negative connotation or depiction or portrayal, that because the adverb cunningly is associated with the quality of a fox. We always say as sly as a fox. Okay, so this is a negative description. Okay, so he is very sly after stealing all the green stuff of summer, and it is going to hide his criminal records and all that. Now, with a deep multitude of colorful distractions, so it will cover the tracks of his theft, okay, or robbery, with a deep multitude of colorful distractions. So it gives you a lot of withering colors, the shades of dead leaves or withered leaves, like brown, orange, yellow, or even what is that, like mustard yellow, that kind of colors. It will give you all these kind of colors to distract you from his robbery, okay, covering up the tracks. So this shows that, you know, autumn, like, is not only a robber, and it is very cunning, and it will also cover up his crime, the record, okay, so that he is not identified or not found or arrested or something. Now, so colorful distraction. Colorful is a very positive feeling, but distractions is always negative. So this can be also an oxymoron, because or juxtaposition, all right? Because you are using something positive to describe a negative experience. Okay, now, and the wind is his accomplice. So this shows that the wind is the partner in crime, okay, of the autumn, which is a robber. So the wind and autumn work together, and they will commit this crime of robbery, okay, and they will take away everything, all that is green, and give you all the colorful distractions of yellow, orange, brown, black, whatever. Okay, now, and then the wind is his accomplice, putting an air of chaos, because the wind, when the wind is strong in autumn, all the leaves will start fall. Okay, they will start falling, and then the leaves also will, even all the shoots or whatever flowers or petals will be blown off the branches, the twigs. So that's why it is creating a lot of chaos. The wind will mess up everything. Okay, now into the careful diversion. So again, there is a positive and adjective here, and it contrasts with a negative noun, diversions. So again, it shows distractions and diversion, distractions. Okay, now, so branches shake. Okay, shake is onomatopoeia. It gives you the sound, and branches shake. So it's like the sh, the s sounds to show the, what is that, the rustling of the wind. So this is onomatopoeia, shake. Okay, and the dead leaves are suddenly blown in the faces of inquisitive strangers. The theft chills the world. So it tells us that once the leaves are taken off the branches because of the strong wind that shook the branches, and then the leaves are blown into the strangers' faces and make them feel curious, and the death, which means the arrival of autumn, chills the world, okay, and changes the temper of the earth, okay, till the normally placid sky grows red with a quiet rage. Yeah, so that shows that autumn is not even a positive feeling as well, because it can, okay, it can actually what? It can cause Earth to actually turn, to change his temper, her temper, because Mother Earth, to change her temper from one that is very placid, means calm, very peaceful and soothing, to something which is very outrage, okay, like a feeling of rage, feelings of fury, feelings of what's the anger, okay. So that is what the poet tries to convey about autumn. Okay, so this is what he thinks. Now, another poet might write another poem of the same title, Autumn, but describing it positively. So it's all how the poet looks at a subject. Okay, sometimes it is from their personal experience. Sometimes it is from the way they look at things. They just feel that everyone is writing about autumn in a very positive way, or maybe in a negative way. It is associated with death, okay, because all the leaves and plants are withering all away. But this poet describes it in a very personified way, like he is a robber and he has a partner in crime, the wind, and together they would rob everything, they would terrorize, and they would kill everything that is green, that is lively, and things like that. That's why it angers the Mother Earth, something like that. Okay, so everything is quite interesting. There's a lot of personification, etc. Is that okay? Any questions so far? No questions? Okay, no questions. Then we go to this slide, yeah? Go back to the slide. Can you see the slide now?
Yeah.
We have
Yes.
8 minutes left. Well, we have 8 minutes left. So I try to go to the next slide so that you can do your homework. Okay, I'm going to put all of these in the Google Classroom. Okay, now just now the poem Autumn, also I will post it all together with this slide. If you play the slide again, you want to watch back the videos, the YouTube videos, you can do so in your free time. Okay, this one also, I'm going to upload the what is that, the document, the Word document, so that you can print it out and you can use your highlighters, use lots of colors, okay, like how you saw in the video, or even how you saw in the autumn poems. You can do that. You can put bubbles, okay, the bubbles and whatever clouds or square boxes here and there. You can circle and draw some arrows that points out. You can highlight certain words, etc., put question marks, everything. So I just want you to annotate. This is your homework. This poem is called Age. I did not want to reveal the poet's name because it's not my concern about how the poet's point of view is incorporated into the poem at this moment. I just want you to practice the annotation skills that I've taught you in today's lesson on this poem, that gives you that guides you towards decoding the poem and understanding the poem. So if you do it the correct way of the annotation, you will get this poem as closely as possible, even without Googling the meaning of this poem. Is that okay? Try not to Google anything. You may use a dictionary, digital dictionary, to look up certain meaning of the words. Like, for example, you want to look up like swaddling, okay? Maybe you want to look up the word like scuttling or the tenement, okay? So that, by all means, that is fine. But don't Google like like poem meaning of this poem, okay? Because then it's not genuine. It's not really from your own effort of annotation. You already read it somewhere and then you try to annotate it. Don't do that, because my purpose of this lesson of annotation is for you to know how annotation is done. If you can try to practice it, okay, on this poem, you will one day be very, very, what is that like? Adept. Okay, you will be very good. You can be very skillful in it, and it will come very easy when we start our lesson officially in September. Okay, because you will have 28 poems to study. You have all the novel and the like drama to study. So all of this requires a lot of annotations. So that's why try to practice it on your own without referring. So you see this poem, the title itself is very clear, straightforward. Now, my age fallen away like white swaddling, floats in the middle distance, becomes an inhabited cloud. Okay, and so on. So I want you to, when I upload this, you will print it out, you try to annotate it. Okay, and then once you have annotated, you print it out. Okay, it will be very colorful already. Then you take a picture, okay, a clear picture, make sure it is clear. If it's too long, okay, like your annotation, you split, then you can take in 2 or 3 pictures. There are only 2 stanzas, so you can take 2 pictures, one of the first stanza, one of the second, okay? And then you just submit through Google Classroom, because I'm going to create the assignment there, okay? And yes, last night, okay, I marked some of the homework of the previous lesson. There are still a few students, I think 3 students that I've yet to mark. I will do so tonight. Okay, hopefully then once I put in the comment and the marks, then you can refer it. Is that okay? I know that I haven't done for Xingtian, Sei and Putri. Okay. Sonia I think I did. Okay, and then no, Sonia not yet, right? I think I did for Joey and Tripta. Yeah. So I'm going to do the rest tonight, and then you can check out your marks and also my comments. But as I said, my intention is not to say like you are not good or whatever, because this is just a bridging, more like an introductory lesson. Okay, the official one will start in September. So this is a time where we just explore the possibility and also like discover our mistakes and whatever. Is that all right?
Christine, what if I don't have a printer?
Oh, if you don't have a printer, okay, I will upload it, right, as a Google document. You download it and you can turn it to PDF, or maybe you can download it as Word document, is fine. Then you just use the digital one, the highlighters and the circle and all that. Is that okay? Underlining and whatever. You just insert the text box on the Word document of the words that you have identified, your circle, etc. You do it digitally on your what's that, like the document. So then you just save it and you just post your Word document with your annotation. Is that all right?
Okay, yeah,
Liz,
sure.
can I just write it?
If you want to write it out, fine. I don't want to
Okay.
restrict you, If you want to copy the whole thing out on the paper and you want to annotate it, is okay. Some of you might want to do it on an A3 size or art block. You don't want to do it on a A4 size, which I have uploaded. So by all means, do whatever that suits you. Okay, as long as you complete the task of annotation without referring to any online resources. Okay, now, is that clear?
Yes.
Right, good. Okay, so now I go to the plenary. So from your experience of the previous activity, which is the annotation, okay, like the autumn, okay, what are your thoughts and feelings about annotation? Anyone? Like, you have already seen how annotation is done. So what do you think of it?
It makes easier to understand the poem, and then
see? Yeah, it definitely makes understanding a poem, a very abstract poem, very easy if you follow the right annotation way. Okay, yeah. Other than that, okay, anyone else want to share their thoughts?
Chet, if we have a problem, can we just watch the video that you showed us just now?
Yes, why not? Anything that of our lesson, I will post, and then you, whatever you did, you go back to the slide. Okay, you go back to the slide, go back to the document or anything, or even the previous slides also, last week's one, you can. And then if you seriously can't, still don't understand anything, you just text the group. Okay, now if you think that the questions would benefit the other students as well, you text the group. If it's too personal, then you text me personally. Is that all right? Okay, I'm very flexible. So, and also I don't treat you like school kids, that you must do in a certain way. As long as you feel comfortable, it's fine with me. I'm very flexible and accommodating. Okay, so there's no one size that fits all. So do whatever you need as long as you get the final things done. Okay, then I go to the next question. So, do you think that the skills of annotations are only useful for English literature, or you can name about what other situations or subject you can apply these techniques? Anyone?
You can use this for any subject, whether it's science to write notes at the side to understand the theory, or
Yeah,
whether it's business to understand the explanation or description of a specific method.
yeah, I think so as well. Yeah, a lot of people think that annotation is only for English or English language, like writing for effects and whatever, but it's actually not so. So it's very useful, especially if you go next time after your first degree. If you want to pursue the master degree, you want to do research, write a thesis paper, right? You have to do a lot of like reading, a lot of reading of other scholars or other people, researchers, things, articles that publish. You will also do a lot of annotation. So it's not just for English language, okay, or literature. Okay. Now the last questions. Does annotation enable you to get as close to as possible the original meaning of the poem or any poem? Do you think it helps a lot? Like, I mean, like the meaning can be as close as 92 or 95% to the original poem. Okay, maybe this one, I think after completing your annotation homework on this poem, Age, you will find out. Is that okay? Yeah, so you try to do this. Okay, I will set the assignment in the classroom, assignment task. Okay, so you just share the pictures, yeah, submit there of your annotation of this poem, just 2 stanza, and then you also answer these questions. Okay, whether it helps you to get as close as possible or not the meaning. Or I think you leave out these questions that we can. When I mark, I will give you feedback on this. When I mark your annotation, I'll give you feedback. Is that okay? So your homework is to just annotate this poem H. Okay, yeah? Any questions, students?
No.
You sure? Okay, because if no questions, then I'll end the lessons here then. Because it's like, what is that? It's 2:43 already. Then we can end the lessons, then you can have a break, or you can do your own stuff if there is no more other lessons. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that the lesson is clear and comprehensive enough for you, or do you think that there should be some other comments for me to improve on the lessons for in the future?
No, you're perfectly
No, they're fine.
You're fine.
Yeah, okay.
That's quite interesting.
Because like no, thanks a lot for your comments because I don't see things negatively. I really appreciate both ways of communication because I have been teaching, yes, I know my stuff, but making students understand a lesson is a different thing. So, and sometimes all the students have different characteristics of personality. So you might not like a certain style of mine. So I want you to give me feedback, okay, so that then I can make things, improve things for your learning experience. Is that okay? So always let me know if you want something more or you want any help, or you think that certain part is very confusing or complicated, I can make things more simplified for you. Is that all right?
Okay.
Okay.
So then I see you next Tuesday. Is that all right?
Okay.
Oh yeah, by the way, when school starts again on the 24th of June, the bridging program students do not go back to school. Is that okay? I will go to school, but I will conduct online lessons from school for all of you.
Right. All right.
Okay.
Miss Christine,
Yes.
who do we go to when we want to, not per se complain, but somewhat complain about a certain teacher and their teaching methods?
Oh, okay. It's me. It's because I'm in charge of the pre-U programs.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you have, I know it's not comment, it's just feedback. Okay. So if you have any problem with other subject teachers or certain students in your Google Classroom, other students lah, okay, like just let me know. Okay, you can text me personally. I will look into it. Okay, I don't hold the teacher. I mean, like, I'm not a person who is very confrontational, so I don't go and question them, and I don't what is that? I don't review your name, so don't worry.
Okay, thank you.
Right, so you feel free to let me know because we want to improve the A-level services and the lessons quality. Okay?
Okay.
Right. Okay, I see you next Tuesday. Bye, students.
Okay.
See you.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, bye.